ईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वप्रचोदयात्। ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वप्रचोदयात्। ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वप्रचोदयात्। या देवी सर्वभूतेषु शक्तिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः। या देवी सर्वभूतेषु शक्तिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः। या देवी सर्वभूतेषु शक्तिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः।
Namaste. Welcome to Kaivalya Yoga Gurukulam. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. As always, we begin the satsang and continue to studying the Sri Chakra. And so we begin with the reverential invocation of Sri Ganesha. Ganesha is the divine elephantine energy, our own energy, the energy of our mind that lies in the Muladhara. So let us invoke this divine energy, calling him Vinayaka, Ganapati, the Lord of the Ganas, the Lord of all our instincts and impulses. He controls them, he creates the path and opens our minds to higher wisdom. So let us invoke him.
ॐ गं गणपतये नमः। 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 ॐ गणपतये नमः 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 विघ्नविनाशक गणनाथा विघ्नविनाशक गणनाथा गजानना हे गजवदना गजानना हे गजवदना विघ्नविनाशक गणनाथा विघ्नविनाशक गणनाथा गजानना हे गजवदना गजानना हे गजवदना ॐ गणपतये नमः 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 विघ्नविनाशक गणनाथा विघ्नविनाशक गणनाथा गजानना हे गजवदना गजानना हे गजवदना गणनाथा 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 प्रणवस्वरूपा गणनाथा प्रणवस्वरूपा गणनाथा वर्तिपुरीश्वर गणनाथा वर्तिपुरीश्वर गणनाथा गजानना हे गजवदना गजानना हे गजवदना गजानना हे गजवदना ॐ गणपतये नमः ॐ गणपतये नमः ॐ गणपतये नमः ॐ गणपतये नमः विघ्नविनाशक गणनाथा गजानना हे गजवदना गणनाथा 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 प्रणवस्वरूपा गणनाथा प्रणवस्वरूपा गणनाथा वर्तिपुरीश्वर गणनाथा वर्तिपुरीश्वर गणनाथा गजानना हे गजवदना गजानना हे गजवदना ॐ गं गणपतये नमः ॐ गं गणपतये नमः ॐ गं गणपतये नमः ॐ गं गणपतये नमः.
For those of you who have just joined, Namaste and welcome to the satsang. We continue learning the Sri Chakra. Let us never for a moment forget that our understanding of Sri Chakra can never ever be complete. Why? Because we are trying to understand it through the mind. It is only when you become the Sri Chakra, when the Sri Chakra becomes you, when you begin to experience it, that is when Sri Chakra will become complete in your quote-unquote understanding. Until then, we will continue to study, we will continue to push the mind to its limits of acceptance, because we are talking of terms, and as we discussed in the last few classes, things which appear very abstract, very difficult to comprehend perhaps. Sometimes pure fantasy when we talk of Lahima and Garima and so on. And even if we understand them as powers within us, feelings within us, emotions within us, and at so many layers it's the same energy coming back to us, even then the understanding should never be understood as complete. You should never say, okay, I got it, I know what it means. He said, okay, this is the beginning of understanding what the Siddhis mean. We are at the first gate, so we have, there are 10 of them, the 4 cardinal, east, west, north and south, as you can see in the slide here. And then you have the 4 ordinal, and then you have, of course, the up and down. So we have to cover that today, in today's satsang. So these are the 4 gates that we enter Sri Chakra, the east and the west and the north and the south. So we are entering through the east. Number 1 is always east. So a question came to me, and I think I should cover it here because it'll be there in all these gates, and I don't want to forget it. In all these temples, the question that came to me, it came even when we were studying the Chalisa, but I don't think I addressed that. And I want to share with you my perspectives on that. So, the temples usually face east. And as you enter the temple, you are facing west. Why is that so? What could I be in the belief with that? Shouldn't we be facing the sun early morning? Why would we want to turn our back to the sun and face the temple? So here is a very simple reasoning, and then we'll go to the second layer, which is a little more deeper than the simplest reasoning. And the simplest reasoning is this. When you allow the sun to shine on something, that object reflects that light and shines, correct? So if you place a copper pot or a brass pot and allow the sun to shine on it, the brass and the copper pot shines and brightens. In fact, it brightens the whole room because of the reflection, right? Now, if this is the sun and this is the pot, and you're doing this, so if we change direction, and the sun is here, and we take the pot and place it here, and we stand here and look at the pot, because in this case, earlier case, what happened? This was the sun, okay? This was the pot, and we were in the middle looking at the pot. So when you're in the middle looking at the pot, the sun shining from top, reflects and you see a brilliant golden pot in front of you, brass or copper, right? Because it is reflecting. Now, if you put the pot with the sun is here, the pot is here, and you are standing here looking at the pot, it is very likely that you will see a dark silhouette of the pot rather than the sun. That is what photographies are made of, right? When the cameraman faces the sun and takes your picture, then what happens? You come very dark. The sun behind, the light behind becomes very bright. You become very dark. You don't like that picture. You say, "Nah, I don't want. It's too dark. What is this? I should be facing the light." And so the cameraman faces you, so the light reflects off your face, and your face becomes bright and beautiful. When in those days, the temple was the tallest in the whole village, in the whole city, in the whole, how big, in the kingdom, in fact. Even the Raja's palace was not taller than the temple's Gopuram. So the Raja would look up to the Gopuram or the temple tower. The villagers, everybody would look up to the temple tower because not everyone can go to the temple every morning, correct? So they look up to the temple tower and offer their obeisance. Now, when the temple, the Gopuram of the temple, the top of the temple, the Kalasham of the temple, when the sun reflects the light of the Kalasham and you're looking at the light's reflection first thing in the morning, with the sun behind you, you are facing west and the sun is behind you, then the whole temple is lit up. It lightens your heart. Reverence and all of that comes automatically, correct? And therefore it is that the temples, the gods in the temples, because those days, when the portals were discovered, the temple was small. So the sunlight would come into the temple, light up the whole temple, because the temple doors would be open and the sunlight would stream and lighting up the deity and so on and so forth. And then the Rajas came and built more and more and more. But the idea is that the deity faces the sun and the reflection lights up. It's very simple. You don't want it the other way around. So that is why the temples face east. So you when you enter the temple, you are actually going towards the west with the sun behind you. All right. The inner meaning, a little more beautiful meaning of the temple, facing east and allowing this sunlight to reflect. What is a temple? What is the deity in front? Is it not the temple itself, like the Sri Chakra that we are studying? The temple itself, is it not a reflection of your own divine self? Is the deity not a reflection of you? If the deity is shining, where is that light coming from? Yes, it's coming from the physical sun. But when you're facing the deity, it's your inner light that is being reflected on the deity. And you're seeing that pratyaksha. Your senses are experiencing the light. And you're saying, this is my reflection. Why would you want to see that reflection as a silhouette shrouded in the dark? You want to see that as a reflection of the sun. So it is in these two aspects that when we say Raja Gopuram of a temple, if the entire big temple has 4 and you enter through the east, it is because of this. The deity faces you and you go facing the deity and you begin to admire and reflect upon divinity and the brilliance that divinity contains. So all of that becomes an experience in the subconscious mind. Okay? So that is why the eastern gate is considered most favorable among all the gates. Alright. So we leave it there. So we entered through the eastern gate, then you have Anima Siddhe, Lakima Siddhe, Mahima, and Ishitva Siddhe. We understood each of these and we'll quickly revise it towards the end. And then we went on to the next 4, the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, and the 8th. So that those were, I'm sorry. Oh, we are there, right? Okay, hang on one second. There you go. And then came the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. Look at that. Now it's in the corners as opposed to the gates. So these were Vashitva Siddhe, influence, the power to influence, Prakamya Siddhe, Bhukti Siddhi, Ichha Siddhi. We'll come back and revise this. We have already done this. I don't want to take too much time in this at this moment. So these were the other 4 Siddhis that we studied. So we have covered the 8 directions. Traditionally, in a puja, there are 10 directions. In fact, there is 11th direction. The 11th one is going within. This is the direction also. So this is the direction, but in Sri Chakra, we study the 10 directions. Because all of Sri Chakra is within us only. So we have 4 and 4, we have covered all the 8. So now what is left? So we've got all the directions here, right? The 4 cardinal, the 4 ordinal directions. So now what else is left? You have something that is below and something that is above. These are also directions. When you place an object, then there is directions from all sides, and then there is a direction from below and from above. Okay? So even thousands of years ago, there was always a belief that there was a suspension of the planets in the cosmos and so on, because there was a direction from below and above and all of that. If as some believe that we were foolishly believing that everything was flat and there's nothing below us, then that was not the mindset of the Vedantins in the Vedic civilization. They had already discovered that we were suspended, and therefore we have these 4 directions as it is, as we experience them because of the rising and the setting of the sun, and then there is above and below. So what are these now in the Sri Chakra? The 9th. Where is the 9th direction? Where can it be placed? Now, in a traditional yagna, this is like a sign of a yagna. In the yagna also, this is where they will say below, where you can't go under the earth, right? You have placed it on the ground, you placed it in the puja. You can't go under the puja and do that, correct? So you can't do that. So as traditionally what they do, the number 9 comes here. See where the 9 comes. The 9 comes that side. This means below. So 10 is going to come diagonally opposite up there. So what is the 9th Siddhi that they talk about? Alright, 9 and 10 both came. Let me get that out for now, so it's less distracting. 9th Siddhi. What is the 9th Siddhi? The 9th Siddhi is Prapti Siddhi. Prapti. 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 Prapti is attainment, is different from manifestation, different from Ichha Siddhi, different from enjoyment, Bhukti Siddhi, is different from Prakamya Siddhi, which comes out of willpower and discipline. This is Prapti, good fortune, they say. He didn't do anything, it just falls into his lap. How does it happen? We ask, right? That is Prapti. Okay, and Baba would often tell us, Anta mi prapti, mi prapti, and he'll smile, whether something we like happened or we didn't like happened. Something he would just say, it's all prapti, and he will just point to his forehead or just say prapti and smile. And I often wondered what this prapti is. How is that sometimes it just clicks without any effort? And is there a meaning in this madness, in this apparent chaotic, random-like behavior of circumstances or things that suddenly happen to us without us knowing? Of course, there is a science, if you will. Of course, there is a law, and this is one of the most powerful laws. Why do I say this is one of the most powerful laws that I'm going to explain? This Prapti Siddhi. You should have Prapti. Prapti is there, everything else will fall in place, right? So the Prapti Siddhi, where have they placed it in the Sri Chakra? Below. Out of the first gate, right below, Prapti Siddhi comes. Okay? In the third gate also there will be something below. We'll compare and see if there is a correlation between those two. Prapti Siddhi is below all these other Siddhis, because these are all going in this direction. So from below, Prapti comes. And if Prapti Siddhi is there, then all the other understanding will become more clearer. So how do we get this Prapti? Is it a destiny? Are we born with it? And some people are just lucky and some people are unlucky. We need to question that. Of course, there is There are many dimensions in this thought process. There are many dimensions of experience. We're not going to explore all of that, and there are always exceptions to the rules that I'm going to, the thoughts that I'm going to share. But here is my very core understanding here. For me, Prapti Siddhi is attained by a set of what I call core belief system. Core beliefs. These are not even in the conscious mind. Core beliefs, deep inside your subconscious and unconscious. In other words, in your chitta, that which you bring along from lifetimes, that which you're born with. That is why sadhana is more important, because if I understand what is the innermost energy that is fueling everything else, all the other emotions, thoughts, all of that, what is being fueled? So somewhere it has to start, right? That deep inside is what is called core beliefs. This is not positive thinking, this is not thoughts, nothing. This is what influences your thinking. This is what influences your action. Okay, the psychologists call it subconscious, unconscious mind and so on. I can accept that. But it is more than that. It is something that we carry across lifetimes. What you learn in this lifetime becomes, and if you absorb it, if the nididhyasana is there, Shravana, Manana, nididhyasana, right? In the very first Kaivalya Marga class, in the very first satsang, in the earlier stages, we talked about this. You listen to something, you contemplate on it, then you begin to assimilate it. In other words, you begin to imbibe it and practice it, then that slowly settles down. And it takes a lifetime, many years rather, entirely depending on how intensely you begin to practice what you begin to believe. Then it becomes deep inside a core. It goes and settles as a core belief. Then in turn it begins to power you. In turn it begins to power you. So first you need to nurture it, give it power. A simple belief like a small plant, you have to take care of it and protect it. Prevent it, put a fence around it, protect it so that your pets don't crush it, to keep it in the garden safe, and then slowly it gathers strength, and then one day it becomes a beautiful tree which will give you shade and give shade to your pets, and you can have whole family picnic under that tree and so on and so forth. But initially you have to give it. Core beliefs. What are our core beliefs? How do you know what my core belief is, right? The next question that would come is, how do I know what my core beliefs are? Tell me, how do I know it if it's not in my conscious mind? Do I have to meditate 10 hours? The simple way to know what your core beliefs are is to look around you. Every person in your life, whether it is your spouse, whether it is your children or no children, whether it is a big home, a big car, small car, a good job, not so great job, whatever it is, whatever you look around you, these are all manifestations of that core belief. The underlying principles below the Sri Chakra is what has fueled all the other Siddhis. Prapti Siddhi. This Prapti is a manifestation. Everything in our life is a manifestation of this core belief. Many times we borrow these beliefs as we are children and we don't even question, we just accept them and allow them to settle and become our core beliefs. We don't question them. So in sadhana, that is what self-introspection is. What is self-introspection? See, most of the time what we do is we get caught between good and bad and differentiating between good and bad. He is good, she is bad, this is a good movie, that's a bad movie, this is a good taste, that is bad taste, what is good, what is bad, oh God, I did something bad, I'm feeling guilty. We get caught in that very silly, superficial layer of good and bad. Forget all that. Move past that. What is really settling down is your core belief system. And in that core belief is what determines the good and bad and all of that. Your guilt conscience. So when you look into the mirror and look into your eyes in the mirror, what is it that you see? Who is it that you see? You of course see another person, a reflection of you, your body there, right there. In the eyes, do you see happiness? Do you see an elation? Do you see confidence in that person, in the reflection? Do you see all of that? If you don't, again, I'm not talking to you superimpose these thoughts and see yourself as confident, and I'm not telling all that. I'm asking just, that's why it is when you stand in front of God, you stand naked. What does that mean? That you strip yourself of all this show and all of these, and stand in front, willing to examine your innermost core belief. That is where the idea of belief even took birth, because those beliefs that we nurture externally eventually settles down inside. So we say it is okay, you're growing old. When you're growing old, it is going to be, you're going to slow down. It's okay, your memory will weak. Let us say, take an assumption like that, right? You hear it again and again and again and again, and you encourage that kind of thought. You don't even question that thought. And so it goes and settles. It's okay. When you're old, you are going to get sick, and someday you're going to die, and we can't do things what we were doing at 30 and 40, we can't do at 60 and 70. It's okay to become old. It's okay to lose memory. It's okay to say, I forgot. So, is it okay? I'm asking you to say, is it okay? But you look around and say, but what about everybody else? What's happening? But that's the point. Look at those one or two who didn't believe that. They had a different core belief system that worked. Baba's life, my Sadguru's life, is for me the greatest role model that I can never fashion my life after. His core belief was he is divine. And that is all he needed. That's what he would tell us in so many ways, not exactly this. The core belief is the knowing, right? It comes to you as knowing. It's not, those are things, those beliefs don't shake up. You have to do deep introspection to uproot them and change them, or plant new positive reinforcement in that, right? And the older ones which are weak or something which will slowly go away. So these are all long processes. That's why sadhana is a lifetime journey. Okay. Now his core belief was he was divine. And he would often tell us, my hand is empty. You give me nothing, and in this nothing lies everything. In this nothing lies everything. And we would laugh or think, oh, Swami, he's talking about how he can materialize objects out of nowhere, out of thin air and so on. But then I began to understand, no, he's talking of something much more deeper. That what is this core belief seems to be nothing. You can't see it. It doesn't exist for all practical purposes. It's below the Sri Chakra. But yet, that is everything. He was born in a village. He was not a son of a rich man. He knew only Telugu. He was a young, simple, thin lad. He was struggling for livelihood, basic livelihood, his family. Born and in a village which was not in the map of India. Everything that you take up to say that it's okay to be a normal child. And what can you expect from a child who was born in a village, without school? What can they do, right? Here is an example of what one child did. So what was that magic? Now I know it's very easy for us to say, oh, he's avatar, he is God, and put him up in the pedestal and somehow distance it and distance ourselves from him. Then we defeat the whole purpose. If you're going to go back home every day saying, I am nobody, he is everything, and we make this God as very different from us and distant from us, and this magical Santa Claus kind of God, then we are missing the whole point of an avatar, an incarnation. A great masters come and show us how I can start with nothing and build everything. And then, so that you and I can sit here and question, how does that happen? This is what the Pandavas fashioned their life, learned to fashion their lives after Krishna. It was not easy, right? They spent 14 years in the forest, they did all of that. But look what they had. They had Krishna with them all the time. So it is not easy what I'm saying here. That it doesn't happen overnight. At least to most of us. It didn't happen to me, so I can speak for myself. It took a lot of introspection, unlearning what I've already learned, and constantly reinforcing a deeper core belief system that appeared very flimsy initially, but I nurtured it till it goes deep inside and settles. And the Vedanta, Sanatana Dharma, Baba and every teacher who represents Vedanta gives you one core belief that you need to hold on to. Again, it's not one, though I say set of beliefs and all that, it's all, what is the root core belief that you should have then? Right? That's question. It will come down to, okay, give me that one belief. I'll start nurturing it right from today. Vedanta tells you, your core belief should be, and from that everything should manifest from there. Then your reality around you will change. All the other siddhis will happen. Everything will manifest the way you want. All of that we talked about in the last few classes will happen. What is that core belief? The core belief that we need to nurture at this point, and then it will begin to recycle itself and begin to nurture us, empower us. That core belief is, I am God. I am God. I am not different from God. I am Akhanda Parabrahman, the indivisible, supreme, absolute. I am Sat Chit Ananda, truth, existence, bliss. Grief and anxiety cannot affect me. Fear cannot enter me. I am ever content. I am God. I am God. I am not different from God. This was the mantra Baba gave us on November 23rd on his birthday. He said, say it every day. This is my gift to you all. Say this every day. I am God. I am God. I am not different from God. Aham Brahmasmi. Mano buddhi ahankara chittani naham. Nacha shrotra jigve, nacha gran netre, nacha vyoma bhumir na tejo na vayuhu, chit ananda rupaha shivoham, shivoham. I am not the petty mind, I am not the proud intellect. Neither the mighty ego nor the minute thought am I. Touch and hearing, taste and seeing, I am not the sensual feelings. I am not the element of earth, I am not the elusive ether. Neither the fierce fire nor the wailing wind am I. I am truth. Consciousness, divine bliss. I am the Shiva am I. I am the Shiva am I. Na punyam, na papam, na mantro, na tirtham, na veda, na yagnaha. Look at that. That is the core belief. Then with that you do all this. It doesn't mean you give up rituals. Understanding the meaning, the significance when you do this, these become so powerful. Na punyam, na papam. Unaffected by virtue, untouched by vice. I feel no pleasure, I face no pain. Na punyam, na papam, na saukyam, na dukkham. Na mantro, na tirtham, na veda, na yagnaha. Unaffected by virtue, untouched by vice, I feel no pleasure, I face no pain, no magic chants empower me, no mystic places purify me. I am not the dogma, nor the doctrines, nor the sacred fire of pilgrims. I am not the sensuous, I am not the sense. Sensuality to me makes no sense because I am truth, consciousness, divine bliss. I am the Shiva am I. Na punyam, na papam, na saukyam, na dukkham, na mantro, na tirtham, na veda, na yagnaha. Aham bhojanam naiva bhojyam na bhokta. Bhojanam, bhojya is a simile or a metaphor for enjoyment, sensual enjoyment. Right? Eating is, like I said, tongue represents all experience of senses. So aham bhojanam naiva, I am not the enjoyment there. Na bhojyam, I am not the object of enjoyment or the enjoyment. Na bhokta, I am not even the enjoyer. Chidananda rupaha shivoham, shivoham. I am simply this Chit Ananda Rupa. Now, you might say, okay, what does that mean? It sounds great, but what does it mean? Don't understand the meaning. Don't try. Because then when you're trying to fit an elephant into a bottle, the mind is trying to understand, grasp this. And it's frustrating, it's confusing, it creates doubt. Then you go to the internet, you read all of them, you say, this is too complicated, I just want to be a normal guy. And you give it up. The mind cannot understand this truth. Core belief system is not a product of the mind. It is an expression of the spirit. It is the experience of the spirit. But it starts. You see, when you plant a seed into the ground, you start from the outside, right? You plant the seed and you say the seed is here. But when it grows into the tree, the roots go so deep inside. Then those roots begin to sustain. The spirit from within begins to sustain the core belief and nurture the core belief. We have to go beyond that. That is why I use the word belief here. I believe in this. This is my core belief. And when something doesn't go wrong or something doesn't happen the way I want it to happen, whatever it could be, then I say, wait a minute, something went wrong inside here. So I go inside to correct what is it that I'm missing. That something that I want to manifest is not manifesting. I begin to examine, is it my own lack of belief in this path that something I want is not manifesting? Is it my own shakiness? Is it my own nervousness? Is it something that is within me that is coming outside as chaos or some obstacle or a block or an illness, or somebody unwanted comes and creates trouble in your life? All that is only energies, right? Other person, some let's say your boss is creating problems for you at work. That is an energy in your consciousness. Why is that energy attracted in your consciousness? Why? Go within and examine. Don't sit and blame that person, because when you blame that person, and that person is hurting me, this person is hurting me, what can I do? Then I am creating a victim mindset. And then that will carry on. No amount of puja that I do will help me, because my core belief says you are a victim. You can't control that. But if your core belief says, okay, you know what? I don't like the situation I am in. Let me go within and ask myself, how can I do this? How can I unravel this mystery? What is it that within me is manifesting as X or Y or Z, a situation, a person, or a circumstance, or a loss, or an illness? What is it that's manifesting from within me? Let me go and rectify that. Even if it takes a whole lifetime, let it happen. Because once rectified, that's going to stay with you for many, many, many lifetimes. That is the power. Prapti Siddhi is examine your core beliefs. Your core belief is what gives you prapti. Core belief that is not evident externally. Some people don't do any puja, any sadhana, nothing. They'll just say Swami is there. But that core belief is so strong, and it has come from many lifetimes, that they just have to plant a little desire in that field of consciousness, which they call Swami, which they call Baba, which they call Rama, Krishna, Shiva, whatever. They just plant, Shiva, you take care of this. And lo and behold, it will manifest in their life. Not every time, most of the times. And they are unperturbed. And you'll wonder, what is this? Yeah, I practice yoga, I do this, I do that, and this person just gets everything. That is Prapti Siddhi. But that Prapti Siddhi is not some weird destiny, but that destiny that soul has worked in and created. And there's a core belief system that is operating, that is guarding, protecting, and giving that individual the experience that the individual needs. Understand all of these as means of empowerment. So when you understand this Prapti Siddhi, not as some destiny where somehow you are not destined to earn some money, or you're not destined to be happy, and you're somehow destined to be a normal person like this, all of that, then the Siddhi is being humiliated. They guard the entrance. They don't let you into the Sri Nagara. Sri Nagara is releasing you from all these bondages. But when you understand that this energy, the other side of this energy, just like we understood humility, detachment, attachment, and so on, when you understand this side and say, oh my gosh, you are within me, as my core belief, I bow to you. Guide me. Open my core belief system. May it begin to work. Then she lets you. These are energies of the Devi principle within us. So hope that was clear. And then we come, because these are fundamental. I can do this 10 Siddhis for a whole week if not, because these are the core. There's an outermost gate. If you can't cross this gate, we get caught there. That's where our whole life is getting caught with. Go back and listen to the last two lectures and this one, and make notes and just Take these words and I'll summarize that towards the end. And you'll notice that, oh my gosh, I'm just caught in this most of the time. It's outside the first gate. How about all those layers that we have to cross, the 9 gates to come face to face with God? 10th Sddhi. Sarva Kama Siddhi. Sarva Kama Siddhi. So finally, from the top comes grace. Anything and everything will be fulfilled. So when I say top, we imagine from the sky, right? So this comes, so the core belief system works from underneath, and this comes from above. This is something that we can cultivate. They go hand in hand. And between these two beautiful siddhis lie all the other siddhis. So these two are not the last two. These are in fact the main that contain all of this. Sarva Kama Siddhi. Sarva Kama, all round fulfillment. Sarva. Sarva is all. Kama is desire. All round Siddhi. All round fulfillment. To me, that word means surrender. Surrender. I surrender to my higher self and say, you know what? You take over. You, the higher self, you are the one who orchestrates this universe. You know the ins and outs of this universe. You know to rearrange atoms and molecules, electrons and protons in ways I cannot even imagine. So this little desire of mine, you make it happen if and when, if it is required in my life, and whenever it is, the time is right, you make it happen. Here, take it. And you offer that to the higher self, to the Sai within, to the Rama within, to the Shiva within. You say, offer it. The flower of your desire, you take and offer it. Here, you take it. You make this happen. You continue putting efforts, but you're not now bothered about its manifestation and all of that. You have surrendered what? Surrendered the expectations of all your actions and thoughts. Surrendering of expectations is not as easy as it sounds. Because when you surrender an expectation or an outcome of an action, an outcome of an effort, what you're actually surrendering is the ownership of that action. I cannot surrender the outcome of an action if I own my action. If I say, oh, I am doing yoga, I need to become flexible. Why am I not becoming flexible? Why am I not overcoming this back pain? Why am I still struggling with this? Why am I doing that? So I am owning my action. And then I'll say, no, let Baba will take care of it, God will take care of it, keep doing. That is somewhere with this confusion. Don't be an owner. Don't be an owner. You know, in debates, you have a person who's the moderator, the one who channelizes the energy of the proposition team and the opposition team. They say, okay, good point. Now, you want to respond to this? Okay, wait, now you respond. They just handle. They're the moderator. They don't take ownership of the debate. They don't say, no, what you said is correct. No, you are wrong. They don't do that. If they do that, it'll be a mess. So you are merely a caretaker of this body. Do you see yourself as a caretaker? Not the owner of Sri Chakra, but a caretaker, a pujari of a temple, doesn't own the temple. And yet, for all practical purposes, he has all the rights of an owner. In fact, more rights than the owner, right? He goes into the sanctum sanctorum. He has complete access to everything in the temple. But he's not the owner of the temple, he's the priest of the temple. If he begins to behave that he is the owner, he might lose his priesthood. In other words, surrender is a big topic. I won't go more into detail. You're not surrendering to some god outside you. You're not surrendering your will and all of that. Those are all very silly, immature ways to look at it. Surrendering is allowing a bigger power to take over. Hanuman, and so that makes you more stronger, more active in the society. So, that is surrender. Let's stop there for now. I'll give you food for thought. Think about that. Sarva Kama Siddhi comes through surrender. So now you have all the 10. So let us go through them. Anima Siddhe, the right kind of humility. Then you have Lakima Siddhe, non-attachment makes you feel light and you're not bogged down. Mahima Siddhe, you include, it's always inclusion. My arms are bigger and bigger and bigger. Everybody is welcome in my thoughts. Everybody is welcome in my vision. Everything, I'm broad enough to embrace until one day you will say the universe exists as a dot in my consciousness. Ishitva Siddhe, master, the lordship you will attain when you chase excellence, when you understand excellence and worship, revere excellence. Vashitva Siddhe, the power to influence people, comes when you become the role model. These are the siddhis that we should practice in our lives, and they are all within us, right? They already are there in us in some form. Prakamya Siddhe, discipline. Where you begin, prakamya is where through willpower you are able to will things happening in your life. But it comes only out of discipline and tapas. Bhukti Siddhe, proper enjoyment of the senses comes through contentment. Ichha Siddhe, the power to manifest comes when you give up the wanting. Give up the wanting. Prapti Siddhe is the core belief that fuels all the others from below, and Sarvakama Siddhe is surrender, that is grace from above. Of course, all of these is a matter of grace, my dear sisters and brothers. When I talk like this, I spend half the night in prayer, saying it's so easy to talk these things. There's so much to learn. I would love spending more lifetimes learning this, because that is the beauty of the Sri Chakra. I will revere every single deity, maybe take a lifetime to understand each deity. And there are 182 deities, 182 more lifetimes. What is there? For me, it doesn't matter. But in that learning comes a great deal of joy. So continue that path to learn. Let us, that cleanses ourselves. As we stand in this entrance today, I was a couple of hours before sitting and thinking we are at the gate, very first gate. We're going to enter now the Sri Chakra. All the gates, Devis are allowing us to enter. And this song from which I heard when I was in the 80s and 90s, which was very famous, Maili Chadar Odh ke kaise dwar tumhare. How can I come? How can I go in if my clothes are dirty? If I'm cloaked in a dirty cloak, how can I enter the Sri Chakra? So what is this dirt I'm talking about? This lack of understanding, this lack of assimilation of these greater knowledge, the lack of discipline and willpower to bring into my life. And so today I will sing that song because it's just in my mind. It's not meant to feel, oh, I can't do this, I'm a victim, and that's a poet's way of just expressing. But I like the humility of Kabir. I think it was Kabir who wrote this. So I liked his humility, that in spite of all that, he says, Arey, how can I enter this with this cloak? In other words, if my speech doesn't reflect my innermost core beliefs, if my actions are not worthy of being considered as an offering to the divine, if my footsteps and the path I've chosen to journey in my life are not walking towards divine, then what is the point in all this? How can I come into your presence? So it's a beautiful song, and so allow me to share that. And with that, we'll bring the satsang to an end.
मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे द्वार तुम्हारे आऊं, द्वार तुम्हारे आऊं। हे पावन परमेश्वर मेरे, मन ही मन शर्माऊं, 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 शर्माऊं। मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे, मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे द्वार तुम्हारे आऊं, द्वार तुम्हारे आऊं। हे पावन परमेश्वर मेरे, हे पावन परमेश्वर मेरे, मन ही मन शर्माऊं। मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे, मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे। तूने मुझको जग में भेजा, निर्मल देकर काया। आकर के संसार में मैंने इस पर दाग लगाया। जन्म जन्म की मैली चादर, जन्म जन्म की मैली चादर, कैसे दाग छुड़ाऊं। मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे, मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे द्वार तुम्हारे आऊं। मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे। निर्मल वाणी पाकर तुझसे नाम न तेरा गाया। ओ निर्मल वाणी पाकर तुझसे नाम न तेरा गाया। नैन मूंद कर हे परमेश्वर, कभी न तुझको ध्याया। मन वीणा की मन वीणा की तारे टूटी, मन वीणा की तारे टूटी। अब क्या गीत सुनाऊं। मैली चादर उड़ के कैसे द्वार तुम्हारे आऊं, मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे। इन पैरों से चल कर तेरी मंदिर कभी न आया, जहाँ जहाँ हो पूजा तेरी कभी न शीश झुकाया। हे हरिहर मैं हार के आया, हे हरिहर मैं हार के आया, अब क्या हार चढ़ाऊं, मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे, मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे द्वार तुम्हारे आऊं, मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे। ओम श्री मात्रे नमः, ओम श्री मात्रे नमः, ओम श्री मात्रे नमः, ओम श्री मात्रे नमः। दुर्गा भवानी माँ, काली कपालिनी माँ, दुर्गा भवानी माँ, काली कपालिनी माँ, जगदोधारिणी माँ, जगदोधारिणी माँ, साई दया करो माँ, हे देवी दया करो माँ, सत्य साई दया करो माँ, देवी साई माँ, देवी सरस्वती माँ, देवी साई माँ, देवी सरस्वती माँ, दुर्गा भवानी माँ, काली कपालिनी माँ, दुर्गा भवानी माँ, काली कपालिनी माँ, जगदोधारिणी माँ, जगदोधारिणी माँ, साई दया करो माँ, सत्य साई दया करो माँ। ओम श्री मात्रे नमः, ओम श्री मात्रे नमः, ओम श्री मात्रे नमः, ओम श्री मात्रे नमः। समस्त लोका सुखिनो भवन्तु, समस्त लोका सुखिनो भवन्तु, समस्त लोका सुखिनो भवन्तु। May all the beings in all the worlds be happy. जय बोलो पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, सतगुरु साईनाथ महाराज की जय। नमः पार्वती पतये हर हर महादेव। ओम शांति शांति शांति।